Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time here. My name is Dana. I'm a mama to 4 little ones, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys kind of how I plan for our homeschool year, what that looks like, kind of what my vision and plans are for the upcoming year, and everything in between. So when it comes to planning for our school year, typically I like to have a day or an afternoon where I can have a couple of hours by myself quietly. I'm reflecting, I am praying, I am seeking the Lord for kind of guidance on what He would like me to do maybe differently from the previous year. I write down pros and cons from the previous year and just everything in between. But something that I did differently this year is really create in writing a vision that I want for our home for the upcoming school year. And I base every single decision around that vision, and if it does not help me achieve that goal or end goal or vision that I would like for our home, then I kind of just say goodbye to it or push it out of the way and things like that. The top 3 things when it comes to what we're going to be doing for the upcoming year as far as my vision for our home and our homeschool, the top 3 goals I have is I want everything to be Christ-centered. We are a Christian family, and so this year I want to be very intentional with making sure that everything we do, not just in work and play in school, but it all centers around God and His Word, and just that be a very, very heavily biblical-based environment, if that makes sense. So that's going to be my top goal for this year, is being really intentional about including those intentional moments with my kiddos when it comes to teaching them about the Lord. The second one is going to be kind of relationship-based, whereas in our relationship with each other, making sure that we are unified as a family, and just like between siblings and between mama and daddy and just everything in between. So definitely having a relationship-heavy thing. And the third one is going to be really the intentionality and my vision of just being very slow, like just living slowly, not being rushed, having time to just think, having time to be, having time to chat, having time to just sit together and be together as a family, and not always be like on the go. Like we typically do slow living anyway, but just to be really intentional about saying no to things when I know that they're going to be causing busyness or stress, which kind of takes away from our whole family vision and things like that. And it's something so simple as in, like, yes, I can be really intentional with relationships. I can be really intentional with bringing in the Word of God and like our devotions and Bible reading in the morning and things like that. But I feel like busyness has such a way of like sneaking in, and hello. I feel like busyness has such a way of, yes, you agree. I mean, it's not fun to always be busy. No, it's not. I have a feel, like, anyway, what I was saying. Yes, I know, you want to talk too. Busyness has a way of sneaking in and taking over every single aspect of life, and I feel like the one word busyness can take away every single vision and goal that we had. Like if we're too busy to pray together as a family, if we're too busy to worship together as a family, if we're too busy to rest together as a family, to like hang out and be together without like going to all the things, you know. Busyness is such a thief of every single thing, especially when it comes to like that family unity in the home. And I feel like within the walls of our home, it's one of the most important things to me is maintaining that connection in the home, creating that safe haven for my family, for my husband and I, and just really when you walk in the door, it is it's our haven, you know. It's a place where we can come and we can feel at peace, we can feel restful, and my kids feel safe and they feel rested when they're at home, and that's just one of my biggest goals. And busyness, that one thing, busyness can take all of that away, which is crazy, but learning to say no to things, to activities, to groups, to like just different things when I know it's going to take away that entire vision is really important to me this year. So really focusing on, becoming on busy, the spiritual development of myself and my children and my husband, and it's just all so important, but that busyness is a huge one. That's why it was on my top 3 things to be intentional about as far as my goals for the upcoming year. So after I have created my vision, I have my goals and kind of outlined for what I would like the year to be, and this time I did put it in writing just to remind myself and to reflect on that when I am choosing other things that we're going to be talking about, it all has to tie into this main goal that we're going to be doing. So after I've created that vision on paper, I will then go and I will choose my homeschooling curriculum, which means choosing a curriculum for our family in our phase of life right now, as I mentioned many times, is having a curriculum that is open and go, that's going to provide our family a sound, thorough education, but also not being teacher intensive, because because it's going to create that end goal of mama not being stressed, because we all know if mama's stressed and if mama is having a hard day, then everyone will too. That is the way it is designed. I don't know how that works and why that is, but it is so true that mamas are the heart of the home, and how they are and their attitudes will make the whole house be a certain way. So really having that curriculum serve us in a way that is going to be open and go, it's going to be non-teacher intensive, yet also be sound, is very important when choosing a homeschool curriculum for us. Anyway, I will have that full curriculum, and my thought process is why we choose different curriculums. I'll have that link down below if you do want to learn more about my thought process on that. So after I've chosen my curriculum, I will then typically create lesson plans. This is something brand new to me, and also something I am so excited to be sharing with you guys right after this video. I'm going to be filming kind of my new rhythm and our new homeschool schedules, kind of, so to speak. So stay tuned for that video. But I am going to be doing a actual schedule. So after I've chosen my curriculum, I then create a schedule based off of how many weeks are in that curriculum. One thing I wanted to mention as well when it comes to planning for my homeschool year is if you are a brand new homeschooler, I would highly recommend checking out HSLDA. It's going to have different state-specific guidelines for what you need for your state. So if you are brand new, you have no idea where to start, check out that website. I will have it linked down below, and it's going to give you exactly what you need in order to homeschool in your state. So I happen to live in a state where we have very little to no regulations, apart from needing to complete that 180 days of homeschool, or 180 days of education, there we go. And so this is the first year where I'm actually having to log and keep track of the days, because in my state we start at age 7 or in 1st or 2nd grade technically. So I'm having to be more intentional with making sure I'm actually logging and keeping track of that 180 days. So something fun that I'm doing this year, and I'm going to be sharing this in my actual homeschool schedule video, which you'll see after this one, but that is, I just printed out a really fun, it's like a little honeycomb, and it has 180 little spots to color in. Just as a fun way for the kiddos to keep track, and for me on one piece of paper to visually keep on track how many days we have left in the school year. But a big thing for me, again, after choosing curriculum, is creating those lesson plans, making sure I am getting those 180 days in. And I'm going to be sharing in my upcoming video exactly how I'm going to be doing that this year, because we're going to be doing a little bit of a different, unique schedule than we typically do. And I'm excited to finally be able to share that with you guys. So the next thing I like to do when planning for my overall school year and how that will look for our family. So at this point, we've already created the vision. We have our curriculum picked. We also have our lessons plan made. I then go into what I want kind of our morning routine to look like, or our rhythm, depending on what you like to see or what you like to do. But I like to do a rhythm in our home, and again, I'll be mentioning this in my next video and show you our new family rhythm and the little papers I had printed out for the kids. But really, honestly, after you do all of your curriculum things, really creating that rhythm, so by the time you actually get to the point in your day where you're sitting down doing said curriculum, it all ties back to that vision. Like, how do you want your home to look like in the morning? How do you want your mornings to flow? What you want your routine to look like? One second. And again, that everything ties back to that routine and that schedule and rhythm, all kind of going back to that vision. And for me, doing my morning rhythm is one of my favorite things to do, because it's not an hour-by-hour schedule. This is literally just a chart with things that kind of have okay, after this is done, we do this. After this is done, we do this. It doesn't matter what time of the day we start. It doesn't matter if it's 8 in the morning or 9, or if it's going behind at 10:30. My kiddos know that this is how our rhythm flows. And I find that having a rhythm that all my kiddos can kind of see and get a hang of just really serves our family so well. So after I have, again, I'm going to run down the 4 points here again. We've created the vision, we picked out our homeschooling curriculum, we've created our lesson plans, we've created kind of how our morning flows, and again, all 4 of those things are going to tie beautifully into what our vision is and what we've created it to be. Now with our rhythm, I do like to tweak that. It typically takes me a month of going back into school full time to kind of tweak it and fine tune it as far as what I would like that to permanently look like. So some of the things I will change depending on what might need to change on the different phases of life. If you've been around for a while, you will have known when we started school last year, there was a lot of changing and tweaking that had to happen before I really felt like I had a sound idea of what our homeschool was truly going to look like. So after I've created my family's rhythm and a schedule, I have it all printed out and ready to go. That's typically when I also like to just jump in and organize my homeschool homeschooling space. Again, I'm making this space serve our family, not the other way around. I feel like when we have everything chaotically thrown in different places here and there, it just makes it a more stressful morning when you have to know where every single thing is. And so being able to be very, very well organized starting the school year, again, helps me complete that kind of end goal of that peaceful atmosphere, because we're not jumbling around every morning, if that makes sense. So having a very organized space is really important to me, because I like to be able to know where every single thing is, and just it serves our family a lot better when it's like that. So really organizing a school space, and I'm going to be sharing more about our school space. We had to change a few things around. I mentioned in a previous video that we had an issue in our little school area, so we might end up just moving everything back out to the dining room. But I think we resolved that issue, so I might be able to keep everything kind of where it's at. But I'm going to be doing kind of a back to school supply haul type video, maybe. If I can get it done, we'll see. And then kind of organize our space before we start the school year, so that way everything is good and ready to go. But really organizing this space and in a way that serves us and that is beneficial to our family has honestly been one of my favorite things to do when we start the school year. It's my time to kind of pray over each individual thing, as weird as that might sound, because my kiddos are using it, and it's great to be able to pray over the things that they use, that it will bless them, and that we'll have a good learning and growing experience for the year. Another one of my favorite things I love doing, this kind of goes back into my curriculum planning videos, and that is really assessing our children for what they actually need, what their learning styles are, what they like using, what they don't like using, where they like to do school, where they might not like to do school. Do they get distracted if their desk is in front of a window, or do they prefer having the window to look at, look out at, I should say, at, when they can? And for reading, do they prefer reading on the dining room table? Do they prefer reading on the couch with mama? Like, just all those little things where I can be intentional with planning the days with. Some of my little ones prefer reading at their desk, some at the table. And again, I like planning my days around what I know my children are also going to love, which is very, very important as well, because every single one of them are so different. And I'm always amazed at how they can be from the same family, but yet so different at the same time. Even their learning styles, what they love, their interests, a lot of them are just so different, and they're so individually unique. So I really like to create that unique also educational experience. But a lot of that comes down to me being able to assess what they love and what they prefer doing and things like that. So a couple of other things that I love doing is I do like to plan for some either field trips or some outings or weekend trips, things like that. And I typically like to have those planned by the actual either semester or by the half year. So this October we have just a little trip coming, and then we're also going to go to the Children's Museum and just a couple little things like that, where I know we're going to have those big outings to look forward to, or field trips, I guess you could say, as well as park days. Now, something that I am going to try doing differently this year, if I can do it, we are going to be taking a little bit of a fun science class with a local little science club. And just I think it's twice a month. So I thought, twice a month is pretty doable. My kids would love it. They love all things science and nature. I'm sure you know that by now if you've been around for any amount of time. So we're going to do something different this year, and that is doing the science and nature little club thing. So that's going to be something fun for them. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they like it. This is our first year doing anything like that. We've been a part of nature clubs before, but this one is specifically for science experiments and things like that. So I'm excited to kind of see what my kiddos think of that. That's going to be our new thing. And again, I think that a couple times a month is very doable for this phase of life. So another thing that I'm doing differently this year, and this kind of goes back to our overall vision of our home with creating that atmosphere and love of learning and everything like that, and that is doing more integrated homeschooling life and family life and not separating it necessarily. And what I mean by that is I want to include them more in cooking, include them more in actually folding the clothes and getting them put away, and not being in such a hurry to get it done, but actually including them and teaching them and things like that. So sometimes I can be when I'm cooking dinner, I can be okay, get dinner on the table, without realizing that they want to do it too. Yes. Because that to me is one of the biggest joys of homeschooling as well, is just this real life, real living, real family experience that's not just stops and starts at a textbook, if that makes sense. So I'm excited to be intentionally incorporating that. So when I was thinking of my vision and my goal and kind of my plans for the upcoming year, that was a huge part of it, is actually including them on the day-to-day basis of all of the actual just daily living things. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed watching today's video. Yes, you see a bird? We see a bird. Yeah. I hope you have a great and blessed day, whatever you're doing, and God bless. Bye.